back to Java Crack of the Week, the series where we break down Java vulnerabilities like they are misconfigured beans at Monday morning. Today we're looking at a spicy remote code execution in Spring Cloud Gateway. This one's got all the greatest hits: SpEL injection, exposed Actuator endpoints, and one-liner that drops shells faster than your CI pipeline drops flaky tests. Let's crack it open. Alright, first, what we are dealing with. Spring Cloud Gateway is part of Spring Cloud ecosystem. It's built on top of Spring Webflogs, so it's reactive, modern, and turns out little too friendly with user input. Developers use it to route requests, apply filters, transform headers. Think of it as reverse proxy with bells, whistles, and SpEL parser hidden in the basement. Now here's where it gets juicy. The vulnerability lives inside the Actuator API, specifically this endpoint. This endpoint lets you dynamically add routes at runtime. Pretty cool, right? But also very dangerous if it's not locked down. Here's the issue. It accepts arbitrary route definitions in response body, including filters like this. See the issue? That value field is SpEL, Spring Expression Language. And if you watched the previous episode, you already know how powerful and dangerous SpEL can be. Injecting expressions like this gives an attacker full code execution if the input isn't properly sanitized. So yeah, that header, it's not just adding a response, it's executing a shell comments. This vulnerability might have been overshadowed by Spring for Shell, but make no mistake, it got heavily exploited in the wild. Within days of disclosure, working PoCs were live on GitHub and shared across forums. The US CISA added it to their known exploited vulnerabilities list, calling it maximum severity. Federal agencies were given just 2-3 weeks to patch, which is rare and serious. One of the main threats? The Sysrv-K botnet. It scanned the internet for vulnerable Spring Cloud Gateway instances, Windows and Linux alike. Once in, it dropped Monero cryptominers, hijacking your server's CPU. It didn't stop there. Sysrv also hit other Spring vulnerabilities like Spring for Shell or Spring Cloud Function RCE, hoping to land an exploit that worked. Most real-world attacks were just resource theft, but with RCE on the table, attackers could have easily deployed ransomware, stolen data, opened backdoors, or pivoted deeper into your network. Even though no major breaches were linked to this vulnerability, the potential was huge. For this vulnerability to be exploitable, the following conditions must be met. The app uses a vulnerable version of Spring Cloud Gateway, 3.1.0 or earlier, where SpEL expressions in route filters like add-response header are evaluated at runtime. The app uses Spring Boot Actuator and exposes unsecured Actuator endpoints, gateway routes, and gateway refresh. If both of these are true, an attacker can inject and activate malicious routes, leading to remote code execution, data exfiltration, or full system compromise. Now let's jump into the demo. We'll walk through a real attack where we use this vulnerability to steal database credentials from environment variables. First up, a quick look how the attack works. We've got the attacker talking to Spring Cloud Gateway app. He sends a POST request to gateway routes endpoint. This contains a route definition with SpEL expressions inside the add response header filter. These expressions are trying to grab the DB username and DB password from the environment. At this point, nothing happens yet. The route is just stored in memory. Next, the attacker calls gateway refresh. This tells the app to reload its route definitions. And here's the key. During that reload, Spring evaluates those SpEL expressions. That triggers the app to call system.getEnv and pull out the values of DB username and DB password from the environment. Now the route is live. The attacker then sends a simple GET request. No payload, no hacking tools. The gateway responds like any other route, except this time it contains two leaked secrets in response headers. And just like that, the attacker has your database credentials. No shell, no brute force, just Spring being too helpful. Before we dive into the attack execution, let me show you how the app is set up, because understanding the environment is half of the battle. So we have a Spring Cloud Gateway app in version 3.1.0, which, as you know, is vulnerable. The app is containerized with Docker and orchestrated with Docker Compose. It's a simple Spring Boot app with a couple of dependencies, which gives us two things: a functional reverse proxy thanks to Spring Cloud Gateway, and exposed management endpoints thanks to Spring Boot Actuator. Here's the Docker file. Nothing fancy here, it just builds and runs the app. And here's where we configure the runtime. We set two environment variables, db username and db password. And here we have Spring configuration. And here's the issue. We expose every actuator endpoint, also gateway routes and gateway refresh, which means that we allow to add new routes at runtime and activate them. There is no security config here, which means that anyone can send route definitions, even the malicious ones. Okay, the app is running, now it's time to exploit it. Our goal? Leak db username and db password and inject them into response headers using SpEL. So in the first step, we're creating a new route definition with two add response header filters. But instead of passing a static value, we're passing a SpEL expression which will read those values from the environment. So now the route is created and stored in memory, and we have to activate it. So we're performing another request, gateway refresh, which tells the app to reload its route definitions, and what is more important, evaluate those SpEL expressions that we passed. Now the route is live and we just need to hit into them. In our setup, get matches the default predicate and is routed true. And in response we have this. And that's it. Secrets leaked with just 3 HTTP requests. Okay, let's step back for a second. Here's what this vulnerability teaches us. Don't expose Actuator to the public internet. It's powerful. Restart apps, refresh configs, update routes. Expose it without protection, and you're basically handing out a root access over HTTP. Disable what you don't need. If you're not using gateway routes or refresh, shut them off. Don't just slap asterisk into your config and hope for the best. Always protect Actuator endpoints. Use Spring Security, a service mesh, ingress rules, whatever fits to your stack, but never leave them open and unauthenticated. Treat SpEL like code injection. If user input ends up inside a hash block, it's over. SpEL is evil in this quiz. Keep your dependencies fresh. Staying up to date means faster patches and less scrambling. The newer your stack, the safer your app. That's your checklist. Lock it down, patch up, and don't give SpEL the last word. Alright, that's it for this week's Java Crack of the Week. We took a clean modern Spring Boot app, and with 3 HTTP requests, we stole credentials straight from the environment. No shell, no tools, just raw HTTP and a little SpEL injection. If you found it useful, give it a thumbs up, share it with your team, or drop a comment if there is another Java vulnerability you want me to explore next. Until next time, patch fast, lock down those endpoints, and don't trust string interpolation. Thanks for watching.